Hey everyone. Can you guys hear me? Can you type it in the chat? Awesome. Oh my God, it's so many of you guys. So glad you're here today. Awesome. So hi everyone. My name is Charlotte. Thank you so much for joining me today in these extremely weird times. Most of you are certainly actually working from home, which is amazing if you guys can do that. And if you are part of an essential business, well, thank you. Thank you so much for your hard work. We really appreciate you guys. All right, so I'm very excited to be your host for today's webinar. I'll be starting shortly. I want to wait just a few moments to allow more attendees to join. In the meantime, I know that some of you did that and it's pretty awesome. I would love to see where you guys are joining us from. So if you can type it in the chat, I can see Portugal, I can see Brazil, France. Oh, I'm French as well, by the way. So welcome everyone. Oh my God, Columbus, Ohio, UK. Oh my God, you guys are coming from everywhere. It's amazing. Tennessee, Nashville. I was there not too long ago. Belgium, Chile. Oh my God, this is amazing. Okay. Charlotte, that's my name. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, it's very exciting to have you. Okay, so just before we start, I'm sure we have users from beginners to expert on this webinar, and this is perfect. With that said, I want to bring your attention to the fact that we also offer basic and advanced walkthroughs of the platform. So if you guys need a little refresh, a little reminder, you are always welcome to sign up for one of those webinars as well. So this is great. Okay, so we're going to get started shortly. Just also welcome to all of you who just joined. We're very excited to have you. Once again, my name is Charlotte. So since it's a lot of us today, my colleague Lindsay will be with you guys in the chat and in the Q&A during the presentation, so she will be able to start helping you. So after this presentation, I will make sure we get some time to answer your questions. So make sure to post them in the Q&A box. I see that some of you guys have already done that, so that's awesome. Make sure to ask them in the Q&A box just because we won't be able to see them in the chat. There's too many messages. So that would be ideal. We will not answer them right away, but we will answer them right after the presentation. So feel free to post your questions at any time. We will get to them in the end. Okay. All right, so in today's webinar, we are going, as you know, to take a look at how to use monday.com with management and executives. So if you are joining us today, I am assuming that you guys are either part of your company's leadership or maybe reporting to your leadership and trying to optimize your workflow to make it valuable and efficient. So if that's the case, good call on being here today because this is exactly what we're gonna do. All right, so there are many, many things to, here we go, to keep an eye on when you are at this type of roles. So our goal for today is to understand from a very high level view what's happening across every aspect of your company through boards, but also in real time with the dashboards, since as you know, probably, hopefully, dashboards are the feature on monday.com that is created for reporting purposes. And if you don't know about it, it's perfect that you're here because we're going to look at it together. So that's awesome. Okay, so give me just one little second. Okay, all good. So as you may guess, and I just want to give you a heads up, this webinar won't focus on one specific industry. We will try to take a look at different types of boards covering different departments, different industries. You guys are coming from very different, different places. So we gonna try to make it simple and have a general look on that. Cool. All right, so let's go into my demo account. Here we are. Perfect. So before we dig into the workflow, I would like to give you a quick overview of the enterprise permissions. So the enterprise permissions are obviously available in the enterprise plans, but I truly believe that it can be extremely important for C-levels. So just wanted to give you a quick heads up. So we're going to start here in the avatar menu in the admin section. You will find this permissions tab. As you can see, you will have the opportunity and the chance to move things around a little bit and really make sure it's custom made for your needs according to your company. Whether it's limiting the creation of certain types of boards or maybe just uploading some files, this is definitely something that can be extremely useful at times. So feel free, please, to take a look. It can be extremely useful. Another feature that I really would like to show you, and that's fairly recent, the workspaces. So we do offer workspaces in lower plans than enterprise, and they're great as well. The one difference that is very important in terms of feature on the enterprise plan is the permissions that you can set on each workspace. So you have the opportunity to invite specific members, to make them owners or not. And of course, to make it, as you can see here, closed or open. So it's basically public or private. So keep that in mind. Those are very interesting features to have. All right, so let's get started. So just so you know, I put all of my boards, all of the boards and dashboards that I want to talk about today in my favorites, just because I think it's easier this way when I know that I'm going to focus on just a certain numbers of boards and dashboards. So another feature to know about is the sections that's right here. Okay, so I would like to get started in the sales department. So this will be a board that we will look at for the longest, just because I believe it's highly adaptable to different options and different scenarios. And I'm sure that you guys, even if you're not in sales, will be able to get some ideas out of it. So yeah, even if from like marketing or different departments, is definitely something you want to have in mind. And I'm sure you will be able to relate with just a bit of imagination. So let's start. Okay, let's make it bigger. Okay. So this board was built based on the idea that it will be populated by a form. Form views in the view center right here. I'm sure most of you guys know it. Otherwise, definitely feel free to check it out. It's pretty awesome. So this form would be available on my website that prospective users themselves would fill out with their own information. So basically, they fill it out to get in touch with the sales department, to get more information, get a demo, whatever. So this form allows me to gather only the most important information, the essential one, the one that like the head of the sales department, would need to assign accounts to a manager. I really want this board to be extremely efficient. So moving forward, of course, the account manager to these accounts will get more insight, more information, more details, and this is great. But I don't need it on my board. I don't need too much detail here. All that matters to me at this point is that, I get an overview of the situation on each account. I understand the progress. I understand the status. I want to make sure that my team is on it. It is taking care of it. I want to be able to get back to it as well, to easily understand what's happening. And I don't want to have to email them. I don't want to ping them at all times. I just want to go back to this board and be able to make sure that everything's taken care of. Cool. All right. So I just want to show you the form that prospective users are seeing. So as you can see, basic information, very important one, and it's coming in here. Great. So each submission creates an item based on the information that the future user or prospective user provide. And this information will help me assign an account manager. So it's really up to me to assign the account, maybe based on the language, maybe based on the location, or maybe based on the workload, for instance. So talking about workload and how much my team has on their plate, I actually set, let's see, I set up a great view that allows me to get a deeper understanding of the situation of each of them. So let's check it out here. This is my workload view, so another option that's available in the View Center. Great. So as you can see, I have a very good understanding of what's happening with each of them. It's up to me to define the weekly capacity of each of my account manager. So by default, I want them to get 1 account per week because I really want to make sure that there's a quality service that's coming with it. So I don't want to make them work too much. I really want them to provide a great service. When I'm going over this weekly capacity, as you can see, it will show as red. So maybe there's some reason why I gave Adam 3 accounts that week, maybe because they're located in the same time zone, or maybe because Adam speaks a language that these accounts speak, whatever. There's always many reasons. So right now you can also see the accounts that are not yet assigned right here. And I can hover over and assign them from here. So let's see. It opens a pop-up view. Great, I have the essential information here. Maybe one of my agents actually speak Mandarin, so I will have to give it to them. And maybe it's Adam, so I will have to just do it this way. Cool. Well, the problem is that he's still overloaded, but hey, it is the way it is. So this is how I would just like go over my availability, see what people are doing, and how we can make it better for them. Okay. So I can see that as I am scaling, my company is scaling, we definitely need more people in the team. And as we want to make sure that we stick to a quality service, this is something that I will need to bring up to human resources, I believe. With that said, I might need a deeper understanding and like clear understanding of what type of recruitment I need, what type of new employee I need. So in order to do so, maybe I'll just go back to my main table and take a look at the data I have. So one very important one is that I can see that I have teams all around the world speaking different languages. So the language is probably something crucial in closing a deal, because if I can't speak, if my account managers can't speak to the teams, well, odds are they won't close a deal. So I'd like to get a better understanding of what my users are looking into and what are, the team speaking for the language. So I'm going to create a chart view based on the language. And in order to do so, same thing, it's going to happen in the View Center right here. As you can see, we have many types of views. What I'm going to do right now is to create a chart view. I'm going to play within the settings to select the language. And I can see that I have, of course, most of my accounts speaking English, but I do have different types as well of languages: French, German, Hebrew, Arabic, etc. So that's interesting. But another data could be extremely interesting is the number of users in each team. I can see that French is second right now, but what if I look into the teams themselves and I can see that German's actually not second? So this is very important to take into account as well. So if I want to share that with HR, for instance, not a problem. I will go ahead and share it in the settings right here. You can create a shareable link, copy it, and just so you guys can see how it looks. Here we go. So this is very interesting. And in addition to HR, I'm thinking that it can be extremely interesting for other people, like marketing or localization, for instance, for, to make sure that we have a product that is translated in all the languages that people are looking into working with. So another option that I have, for instance, in terms of marketing, is to make sure that I am giving them a heads up about the trends. So as you can see, I have people everywhere, reaching out from everywhere. So in order to do so, I will go to my main tables again, add a new view that is a map view, and create it. If I zoom out a little bit, I will be able to see where the requests are coming from. And once again, if we have a lot of people in Germany, it's very interesting to know and probably valuable to make sure that everything is translated into German accordingly and, fully. Same thing with the map view. If I want to, I can share it, which is fairly new, so keep that in mind. It's really cool. Copy. Cool. All right. So as you can see, there are many possibilities to look into our data and to share it with different departments and work collaboratively with it. I can also, of course, invite them to my board, but I think these shareable views are actually more relevant for some departments. So very cool, very nice to have. Okay, now there's one more thing that I'd like to look at regarding my current team. So as the head of the department, I need to understand how they are performing and get a good idea of the performance of each team member, right? So in order to do so, I already created a lead tracker view. I called it that, but you can call it whatever you want, obviously. And this view allows me to get an overview of the performance and obviously the top performers, which is very interesting. So I'd like to show it to you. So here we go. You can see I have a good idea of what's on everybody's plate, literally. So I can also see the status of each of the lead. So the yellow one are the reach outs, incoming right here. I just assigned Adam to a new account, negotiating leads, assigned account that are not yet been reached out to, and the deals. So of course, I want to see as much pink as I can. Not a responsive one, give me a good idea also of how people are performing and what I should do and how I should reassign my account, for instance. Same thing, I can play within the settings and see how they're doing per number of user, for instance. So like I can see that now, for instance, Omri has the most deal, like he has 4, while other people have like 1 or 3. What if I change to the number of users, for instance? I can see that Katharina is actually performing really well, and she's been closing deals with major and very large accounts. So it's very interesting to see how much we can do with this data. Awesome. So one thing I'd like to mention before we move to another board is that we do offer a Salesforce integration in the enterprise plane, and many of our enterprise users love it. So definitely check it out if Salesforce is one of the tools that you work with. Okay, so I'd like to change departments and go to the marketing department. I want to take a look at our marketing projects for the year. Okay, so this is another very high-level board that allows us to get a quick and very easy understanding of the progress of each of the campaign. So my team, I have several different teams, as you can see, the event team, the offline marketing team, social media, etc. I want to know what's happening, who is doing what. Once again, I don't need details. I just want to make sure that everything's taken care of. And if I see that something's stuck, maybe I want to check. Like for instance, here I have a little dot here. Okay, waiting for a site contract, fine. I can see that there are some updates here as well. Okay, looks like this will be postponed to Q4 due to COVID-19, understandable. All of this information that can be put in context. It's super useful, and it allows me not to ping my team once again all of the time to understand what's happening, since they can put everything in there. This is extremely useful. If I want to, like for instance, if I want to understand what's happening here, and I can see that there's no change, I can obviously mention the team itself and not necessarily one user, but the team. So that would be social media. Hey, how is it going? Can you please update status? Cool. So obviously they will get the notification right here, but you guys know that already. Cool. So I believe one of the most important things on this board is for me to be able to see what is happening when. And in order to do so, I created a timeline view with actually a Gantt chart presentation. That is right here. And this view really allows me to get a good understanding of my projects for the coming year. It's up to me to play within the date or the campaign duration as well. It's really up to me to see. I usually put the date only when, we usually put the dates only when it's been done already. So the campaign duration will give me a better idea of what's ahead. Cool. Let's go back to the main table. All right. So feel free to ask me more questions about this board. I want to move forward to the next one, which is, you know, we did sales, we did marketing. Another very, very important in the company, you name it, human resources. Okay. Okay, so we all know that human resources often ask for feedback from employees. So one example, and this is the one I use today, is the preparation of the annual review. So in this instance, as the VP or head of human resources of my company, I asked my team to create a survey. So again, via a form, so the form feature. And employees will fill out as, I want to make sure that everybody's happy, of course, because if they're not, they're going to leave, and I don't want them to leave the company. So I really want to be able to address the situation with their manager ASAP if I see that there's an issue. Yeah, I want to make sure that we have and create a nice environment and loyalty with our employees. So let's take a look. So same thing, as you can see, a quick form. Here you go. Very easy. Name, team. As they put in the team, it will actually trigger and assign a manager automatically. This is one of the automations that I created. So depending on, like, for instance, if it's ops, Trey will be assigned. If it's IT, Katharina, sales for Ben, etc. So automatically, as someone submit a feedback, it will notify their manager. Now, as the VP, I will take a look only at the average filling. The average filling is something I created with a formula. So it's basically the average of all of this 5 stars. So I also created a scale right here So I can see that if the average failing is 4 to 5, I will consider my employee happy. If it's 3 to 4, not that much. So there, I will consider it that there's room for improvement. And under 3 is definitely unhappy, and this is definitely something that will need to be addressed. Okay, so as an example, here clearly Ron Smith is not that happy. I will notify his report this way. So I created an automation that will move this item to unhappy. And also I created an automation that will notify their report right here. No, sorry, not this one. Okay, so this is one of those. It's a very personalized notification. Pulse name will be the name of the employee that they filled out. And I can, of course, personalize with more information if I need to, maybe even the average rating that they gave. Please make sure to schedule one-on-one as soon as possible, etc. So from there, I will just keep an eye on it, but basically the managers and the report will take care of the situation. And when they schedule a meeting, they can inform me right here as well, as you can see. Cool. So if I want to get an idea of the general situation and the general feeling of my employees, I can look at the chart overview that I created right here. As you can see, sure, most people are happy, but I definitely want to turn things around and make sure that everybody is happy. Of course, it's an ideal world, but we need to aim at that. So this is something to keep in mind, and make sure that the reports are on it is the most important part for sure. Okay. Let's go back to the main table for a second. I could also set up an automations, for instance, another one, as you can see, there's a lot, but I can create an automation to make sure that the reports are on top of it. And for instance, could be when the status, the general sentiment is unhappy, hey, please schedule meeting ASAP. I promise I can type, guys. But you all looking at me, it's I'm a little nervous. Okay, so we can obviously, for the person, cool, and notify the managers, and maybe we want to remind them every other day at 9 a.m. when they get to the office. Well, when they get to the home office. Cool. All right. All right, so let's keep moving to our next board, which is a board that everybody uses as well. So I'm gonna keep this one short and sweet as well. We definitely all need, I'm sure, to stick to a budget. If you don't, you're very lucky. We need to stick to a budget or goals, whatever, actually. Could be goals as well. So we need to stick to our budget. So in order to make it super simple, I decided to create a very visual board that will allow us to keep an eye on the budget at a very, very high level. So just by, hey, how much budget for marketing? How much has been spent already? The budget and the actual and how much left. So that's very simple formula column. And I created this indicator with a formula as well. So if the actual budget is superior, no, the actual spend is superior to the budget, well, it will show me this little sign, and if everything's good, I'm gonna have this check mark. So this, just so you know, I put a permission on it because I don't want anybody to touch to this formula. So only the owners of the board will be able to change it. I also set up a permission here on the board. So only department heads can edit the row they're assigned to. So let's see. For instance, Sivan will be able to edit marketing. Ben will be able to edit R&D. So basically, he's the head of R&D, and he can tell me how much they've spent so far, and that's how I'm going to know. And that's just, you know, for security reason, I think it's nice to set up some permissions at a time. And also, I think this board could be extremely interesting to use, for instance, when I'm not sure if Leah updated the board recently, so I'm going to mention her. And then she will see the message, get the notification, and will come into this board to update the actual budget or spend. Cool. Just so you know, well, obviously on this board, there's not that many items, but if you do, it can be very nice to use the filter to make sure that you only see what's wrong on the board, for instance. And maybe you want to create a view. Keep an eye on these guys. So this view will obviously update every time that the indicator is showing this little X. So that's pretty cool. Cool. Okay. Now, before I move to the dashboards, I would like to show you one more board. It's very seasonal, if I can say that. So a lot of us moved to some type of remote work. So I decided to create a specific board for leadership team to make sure that we align and make sure that we communicate on a regular basis, since we can no longer do it face-to-face in the office. So there, daily leadership meeting board. So to create this board, I used a bunch of automations. By the way, I want to mention the fact that our amazing developers created a brand new, I think it was released today, actually. They created a new category called working from home, and you will see the different integration that we recommend when you guys are moving to a remote work. Very interesting. Take a look. I think you'll like it. Okay, so what did I create here? So in our case, and you know, like many other companies, we tend to rely upon like video conferencing and instant messaging a lot, especially now. So we decided to create a board that would do a good use of our very, very brand new Zoom integration, and also of our great Slack integration. And the Slack integration is like an all-time favorite. So definitely take a look. If you guys are using Slack, I think it's a great one. So I decided to start a daily sync with the leadership in my company, and I want to make sure that it's very well documented and that it stays and lives somewhere. So this is the board where it lives. I will show you the integration that I put together here. So when I create a meeting on my Zoom, it will create an item. Or when I'm hosting a meeting, it will also create an item. And I will be able to include some details like the recording, for instance, which is very important. Just so you know, I think later today, or very soon at least, we will be able to release a new recipe, I believe, that will allow you to actually sync a new meeting based on the board to Zoom. So the other way around, which is pretty amazing. I have not tested, but I've heard from it. So don't tell anyone, but that's anyone that's going to come out from what I've heard. And that's pretty exciting. So here you are on my board. So let's check it out. So as you can see, I created the automation. So the recording link will come here. Let's say that you guys need to have minutes for a meeting, for instance. You can always either type it, you know, right here in the update section, or maybe you want to create a file column, type it in Word and just include it here, or maybe you want to, let's say, create it in Google Doc, and you would just put the link here as well. Well, actually, you can do it from here as well. So it's really up to you. Cool. So just to mention the Slack integration, and I will go back for a minute to the sales leads board as well. So my Slack integration right here will allow you to inform in a Slack channel directly the leadership that a meeting is coming. And actually in my sales lead boards, I do have this integration as well to notify each time to the leadership talks channel as well to inform everybody that a deal has been closed, which, you know, we need some good news in this world. So it's important. Great. So now I would like to move to dashboards, and then we will address your questions. So last but not least, dashboards. So I would like to show you these because they are our reporting tools. Some C-levels might not even look at any boards, to be honest, and just take a quick look at dashboards to get like a very quick understanding of the situation. So just to be clear, dashboards are made of widgets. And I believe that we offer more than 20 at the moment, so that's quite a bit, and you can definitely play within the dashboards. It's pretty fun. And really, like this widgets, the dashboards will give you some kind of holistic, if I can say, holistic view of the data at a very specific moment in time. And it will obviously instantly update when you update your boards. So, you know, something to keep in mind. So while it's obviously completely up to you, I like the idea of having different dashboards. So one dashboard would be very general to the company, and the others will be maybe specific to every department. Or maybe you want to have your own personal dashboard as well, and this is completely fine. We also have widgets that have very personal information, like my week widget, for instance, or I've been mentioned on a board widget. So let's go over the sales dashboard. I want my team to be on top of it and know what they are supposed to achieve. So my budget is monthly, so I put in a countdown so they know exactly when they have to achieve the goal. I also want them to be aware of what has been done so far and the actual goal. So I use a countdown here. This is a number widget that allows you to pull data from different boards. Very interesting, very important. And of course, the goal, this is something that I changed manually, but I want them to keep that in mind. I want to keep an eye on the annual sales growth, and I want to compare it to last year. So here it is. I pull data from different boards to really see the different evolutions between this year and last year. So important as well. Some fun visual things. I want to see the pending leads and see what's on my plate. Also, the size of the lemmas will show the size of the number, actually the number of users on each account. So if I see this big, so you remember the non-responsive are the purple ones. It's not purple, well, you got it. Well, I want to make sure that it's taken care of, because if they're not responsive and there's such a great opportunity, I will definitely want to go back to my board and take a look. So that's possible to do it from here. And obviously from the board, I will be able to filter and see and maybe nudge the account manager. On a team level, I did want to make sure that I can see what my employees are doing. So I use some battery widgets to filter based on the status of their accounts. I want to see the number of users per leads and what's the trend. So I created a chart here. And obviously, as I mentioned already, very important to me, see what my prospective users are speaking, what kind of language they are speaking. So this is a good way for me to keep an eye on it. So once again, we have many, many dashboards. I really, really invite you to look into those and play within the dashboard. So for instance, this table widget is really cool. It allows you to select as many boards as you like with the groups you like. Maybe you don't need all of them. Maybe you just need some of them. Cool. Done. And as you can see, we'll see that below, you'll have different boards with different columns, which is cool because this is something that you cannot achieve in a board. So, you know, can be very easy. If you have like a client, for instance, that has different groups in different boards, this is a good way to keep an eye on what the client is doing. Cool, and now let's move to the general dashboard. Let's go back to the top. Cool. Let's say that this dashboard is for the CEO. Great. I want the CEO to be able to see what the revenue has been so far throughout all of our departments. Cool. I can see it here with, I linked it to a budget or maybe a revenue board. It's up to me, once again, to choose what I want to do with these numbers. I like to have it at the top. Maybe I'm a startup. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a startup and I have investors or planning on like doing around like a series B, C, whatever. So maybe I have a board with investors and I want to keep an eye on what's happening and what stages we are at. Of course, the company growth is extremely, extremely important. This chart will allow me to see the different trends as well, see the signups, the forecast, the weekly years, etc. I want to keep an eye on the marketing department and see the priority and counts in terms of projects. I also want to make sure I have I can get a quick overview of different departments. I can see right off the bat if they are on track, behind schedule, or at risk. This overview widget is based on date and status on the board. So it's really the same thing, up to you to choose what you want to see in your board with the filter, but also within the settings. As the CEO, I want my people to be happy, so I want to keep an eye on that. And I would want to nudge the head of HR if I can see that people are not happy. The pipeline sales is like a nice to have as well. Maybe not necessary that I'm looking at it. Maybe it's too much detail for the CEO, but that's an option. And finally, I do have the timeline from my marketing projects and my week, because I want to make sure that I can access my daily meetings information right away. Cool. Here we go. If you need more information, we always here 24/7 to help. So once again, thank you so much. Let us know if you have any more questions, and I hope you guys are safe, and we will see you soon. Have a great one, everyone.